Hi, and welcome to Manga Cyphers. I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
This is your co-host, Jamal.
And this week we're going to be kicking a freestyle on the manga Beck. Just so you have a quick rundown of what this podcast is basically just a freestyle, free-form conversation between me and my buddy. We're both mangas lovers. We've been reading them for like 20 plus years. Nah, that's too long. That would make us 5.
For a long time. Since like middle school. Almost like over a decade.
Yeah, but for a long time we've been reading mangas, and we were anime watchers first, and I hate getting to a point in the anime where the story is at the same point as the manga,
or it just doesn't continue,
and you can't watch it anymore. So it's like, I'm just going to read the manga now. So we're the people who are always telling you to read the manga.
So materials matter.
And so, yeah, this week we're going to be taking a look at the manga Beck. I'm going to kick it to Jamal. He's going to give you a quick summary, quick breakdown, and then we're going to get into our thoughts on the series.
All right. So Beck was written by Harold Sakuishi. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm not fluent in Japanese or whatever. So its original run is November 1999 to April 2008. Has a total of 34 volumes. And it does have an anime if you're looking to watch the anime. Funimation does have it on their website. So if you have a subscription to Funimation and whatnot, I advise to go check it out. They have both in English and Japanese. So if you're into that, they also have a live action. And it's a very, unique manga. It deals with a group of, young kids, young high school, middle schoolers, and they're getting together to make a band.
It's like a coming of age story.
Yeah, coming of age story and stuff. It's focused on a 14-year-old boy who's pretty much has nothing in life, or not really nothing, just like an ordinary guy growing up, and then he eventually just stumbles onto this one kid and leads him on an unexpected journey to him learning how to play, guitar, and end up being in a band.
He finds like a purpose through the band. And so I guess, what did you think about it? Because we read the entire series. In the series, how many volumes is it?
34 volumes.
34 volumes. So it's not like incredibly long. I think when you break it into chapters.
Like 104 chapters, something like that.
104 chapters. Yeah, what did you think of it from your... Because you watched the anime before reading the manga, right?
So I watched Beck like years ago. I think probably back when I was in high school, probably freshman year. I just stumbled upon this anime and said, oh, this look unique. The animation style was different. It was something I'm not accustomed to. Mm-hmm. So I first watched it, and I was like, man, this is really good. And I told my other friends around that time, I was like, hey, you got to check out Beck. One of them watched it, so he knows that, like, when I be singing songs from it or any humming songs, he'll know exactly where it's from. Yeah. So eventually, then we started to do a podcast for this. I was like, hey, let's do Beck, because we wanted to do something music. Yeah. Since we're doing ciphers, let's do a music, anime.
For the first one. Well, It definitely was my first jump into it. For this one, I didn't even know about it from back then. From when you brought it up during that planning session, was basically the first time I heard about it. And from reading it, I didn't finish everything for it. I got maybe halfway through it before recording, but I liked it. It's like we were saying. It's a coming of age story. It's cool to watch this dude goes from.
Ordinary, normal high school, middle school student. He starts off at middle school, 14 years old.
Kind of trying to find purpose and find something interesting to do with his time. And he found this. And the thing I really digged about it, it was the fact that he had to learn how to play guitar.
True.
He wasn't, quote unquote, he was the missing link in the band, right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't a prodigy type of shit. This dude had to sit and learn how to play guitar.
The only ability I would say he had was he had a good uncanny, he had a good voice. People, as soon as you hear him sing, you're like, oh man, this dude's really gifted. But of course, he didn't know how to play no instruments. He didn't know how to, he wasn't getting writing songs and stuff like that. But he gradually learns how to do that, and you see the progression. So where it takes place was I almost finished it. But so you see, he starts out as 14, and near the end, he's 19 years, almost 20 years old. So, and then you see how this, group of characters come together. The bandmates, Ryusuke, pretty much the leader. Mm-hmm. Second,
he was like a wild card.
Yeah, the wild card. He was just, he's really good at blues music and stuff like that. And you have Tara, the bass guy, and then you have Chiba, who's the other vocalist on the group. He does more of the punk rock.
He was like a punk rock rapper.
Rapping, hype music type stuff.
I think looking at it, I just love seeing all the different influences throughout the manga.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, there's lots, like, the covers for a lot of them are really interesting to look at. You can just see the author's, like, love of rock music, like, pouring through this thing. Like, I think there's even one moment where you see, like, a Doors, like, there's a Doors sign for the band, and it's above like a cafe type of thing, and there's just like little like hints throughout the manga of, you can just see his influence and his love of like rock music.
For sure. If you're a fan of like music and rock, this is definitely the manga for you. There's a lot of real life influences, like they bring up Jimi Hendrix, they bring up Sid Vicious, they bring up, you know,
I think
Nirvana,
they brought up the Hot Chili Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, which if you look at the bio for the artist, he is a fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Well, you can see it instantly with the bass player. He plays very similar to what's the cat's name in Red Hot Chili Peppers, but he plays similar to the player in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. From listening to it, I guess I haven't heard music for it, right? Because I haven't watched the manga. I haven't watched the anime. What I kind of got an idea of what the band sounds like, but I haven't heard any music related to it.
Which is why I think Beck is super unique. So this deals with Japanese kids, right? Mm-hmm. Ryusuke, he's a little different. He's Japanese, but he grew up in New York, so he can speak English. Same with his sister Maho. They can speak English.
How is the English in the anime? Is it
if you watch
is it actual like English, or is it the whole like?
Yeah, if you watch the English sub or the English subtitles, of the Japanese version with the English subtitles, they do talk in English, and you'll be like, oh, okay, you're trying. you can tell, but I think they do, because it's a language barrier. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. There's some characters who can do the English and some characters who can't, so you can kind of see how they try to break through it. While Kiyuki, who becomes another main vocalist / guitar player.
Yeah,
and so you have to learn how to do some words in English and whatnot.
Because I got an idea of what the band sounds like just from reading it. Yeah. I feel like they're probably like a punk funk type of sounding band,
and they have a little bit of some songs like ballads and stuff.
But there was moments where like the other vocalist, it felt like he was rapping, so I got kind of like Rage Against the Machine type of vibes from there. I don't know. I'm just curious because you saw the anime first.
A lot of the songs are in there in English and Japanese. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, the anime. The only problem with the anime, it does not finish. Right. So it only covers up to 12 volumes of the manga. Major issue. It's always an issue in ongoing anime, manga histories. You name anything in movies or whatever. So of course, it does not. Unfortunately, it does not finish. So some songs that later on down the road, during the manga, you're not gonna hear it. Some of them earlier ones, you can hear it on YouTube or whatnot, or watch the anime.
So, other question: how do you feel about the art of like the artist style in this one?
Honestly, I enjoyed it. I think it was a fantastic, because this is a 1999, late 90s.
Because it definitely felt like a throwback. It reminded me of another manga that I really enjoy. It's called Baby Steps. But also, it just felt like an 80s, 90s type of manga. You can, as you read, there's just like different styles, and like his style definitely brought me back to that era.
Yeah, and every time they do little solo shot panels, they look amazing. Yeah. When he'll do when he's doing Koyuki singing or something, or Ryusuke going on
those quiet moments,
little moments like that, they look fantastic. So the art style and direction was great. What do you think about the characters? Who's your favorite amongst the
out of all of them? I really like the drummer. He just always seemed calm.
Saku?
Yeah, he's calm, focused,
the
steady.
Brock character,
always there to like keep everyone balanced. Like I love that type of character because he's the foundation, man. The drummer is the most important part of the band. He's the rhythm. He keeps it like focused and allows everyone to grow. But I also really like the main character,
Koyuki.
At time he kind of got on my nerve, but that happens a lot with main characters. I hate I
thought he was a little bit too naive. A lot of times.
I hate the naivety, but I don't know if that's a word.
Naivete.
Naivete. But at times, I get it. I get that we're reading about a 14-year-old kid, and like he's gonna be naive. There's gonna be moments where he gets that like people take advantage of him, and like it happens in life. When you're 14, you get taken advantage of because you don't know shit yet. But like it's still annoying to read because like you're reading it and you're like, dude, don't do that, don't do that.
Hey bro, you know better, man. But again, we're older, so we know that.
We're like 25, 24. It's like we know that.
We know that. In our 20s, we know that.
But what about you? Who was your favorite?
My favorite would be Ryusuke, even though he was in terms of like a Joker card, wild card, just doing a lot of crazy stuff. One of the funny moments is when they were first getting published, and there's two names for Beck. There's Beck, the Japanese name, and for the band, and then when they got published in America, they were going as Mongolian Chop Squad, and of course, when they were getting,
isn't that because of like legal stuff that happens? That
legal
they have
stuff.
to like change their name and the manga, and
he didn't have a royalty contract.
Yeah,
he didn't sign a royalty contract, so they got no money for when they're topping the charts in America. Like in the
but I really like that aspect, right? Because it shows
you make dumb plans. Yeah, you end up making dumb decisions. You didn't think about that.
It's real stuff that happens in the music industry. We're always seeing artists low-key being taken advantage of, right? Because they're here to make their art, and they want their art to be heard by music.
But somebody has to make it, somebody has to produce it and get it out there, because you can't do that on your own.
And so when you go to like record companies and record labels, you sign a deal that you didn't read the contract, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, so they make good money over there with their label over there, but they no royalties, so they got no money. But I think Tar was also another cool character. The bass guitarist, is it how you bass guitarist? Yeah, so he was pretty much he's one of the older dudes on the group. It was Ryusuke, Tara, and Chiba were pretty much the older guys in the group, and Tara was pretty much the second command. He was like, I would say he's like more like the Rock too, because he'd know how people were feeling and how the flow of the bandmates was like. When some people were getting in each other's nerves, he'd be like, all right, he understood how to talk. Like when Ryusuke wanted to kick one of the members out, he'd be like, I'm not playing this, I'm not going to stay in the band if he's out, because Beck isn't Beck without all five of us.
But is really cool to see it. I think he did well, the artist, at building these dynamics between the different characters, because they each feel like different individuals in the band. They feel like real folks. They feel like actual different personalities.
And you can relate to. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing to me, is relating to characters. I love to see somebody and say, I can relate to that, his issues, because some people like to make, find common ground with people, right, and stuff like that.
So did you feel like my whole thing, like, did you feel like the characters was as strong as the story, or do you feel like the story was stronger than the characters, if that makes sense? Like, would you have read this, how to phrase it, like, how would you rank the story to the characters? Do the characters make sense in this type of story? Does the plot actually move forward with the characters, or are the characters just cool characters to you?
Well, I think the story is like, them trying to make and break rock band scene in Japan in the early 2000s. So that setting alone, you see the hiccups and breaks, and they're almost about to get over the hump, and then they get crashed down. They find a little, gateway. They're find a little light at the end of the tunnel. They're trying to progress, and then somebody big and powerful doesn't like them. They get chopped down. Yeah. So that's kind of almost realistic in a lot of sense. That
it is real.
That's real. That's real world situation. Stuff happens where you feel like you're on the up and come up, and then boom, stuff happens. You got to find a way to maneuver around that circumstance. So I feel like that was that's part of the story was great, and the characters plus the story enhanced the overall experience of Beck.
No, I definitely would give it a high ranking too, because I feel like the story, I like more realistic stories like that. It's like I was saying, is a coming of age story, and it kind of does show how, like I was saying, I was annoyed at them being naive, but like when you're about to get your dream, you're more focused on getting your dream than on like
this little legal stuff. So
like, is this gonna screw me over or not? You're like, man, I'm about to get my dream.
Of course, you end up trying to learn from those mistakes.
Yeah. And it shows that, like, it also shows that there's going to be mistakes that happens, and from those mistakes you just kind of pick up and keep going. Like, you don't let that knock you off of.
Yeah, it happened countless times in the manga.
Yeah,
a lot of road humps and how they
obstacles and shit.
Obstacles,
like,
yeah.
Like it's going to happen. These obstacles are meant to kind of build you up after they happen, and I feel like that happened really
early and quick, and they learned from it. They were like, I think one situation they needed to get money to make a label. Of course, it's not free. It's not free and it's not cheap. So they were working like three jobs. One of them ended up getting sick while working, and he had to rest. And there, main character Koyuki is always like looking for ways how to make money. Like,
but it also shows like that hustle.
Yeah,
like that hustle have to be there. I also like. I don't know. It's like we're saying. I like the realistic take on it because it wasn't like, how sometimes these stories are like power fantasies or whatever, and the characters are instantly great, instantly amazing. Like, yes, Beck, he did have like the main character does have like a talent, and that talent is there. But then you have to
bring it out.
Yeah, you have to like water that seed and actually create the ability to be able to progress.
Exactly. That goes all back to, like you said, hustle and grinding. To achieve something, you're gonna have to hustle and grind. So I don't get when people say, for example, crunch, like something like that. You gotta, I don't get that, because if you want to achieve something, you probably gotta work 2-3 jobs. You gotta eat, sleep, breathe it, drink it, whatever. If you want to achieve something.
It's like you have to spend all your time doing it to become obsessed with that thing to become amazing.
To a point, it may be days where you feel like you can't get up in the morning. It might be like that. But if, at the end of the goal, at the end of the day, it's like, the ends justify the means in terms of where you want that to go. If you want to achieve that dream you have, you're gonna have to work 100 times whatever harder than you were
the person before, or just put in more effort towards that, even though. But it's like I said, there's still the talent too. Like, I don't want to take away from the fact that there was a talent, but it's like you find that thing that you're talented at and then pursue it with that type of mindset, and then that's kind of what propels you forward. I think that, and that's something I really thought was
that's a good life lesson from Beck. That's another one of the things I learned from it.
Did you see any like negative aspects or things that you didn't really care about? I know we touched on not really liking the fact that it was naive, but we also kind of saying that was like
my only problem
was
when it kept happening. Like, for one situation was he liked his Ryusuke's sister named Maho. He really likes her. Of course, she's also a person who grew up in like America, so she's not a normal Japanese girl. She speaks English and whatever. So she has a lot
flavor. I said she got flavor.
Yeah, so she has exactly. She has a lot of American friends. So. Koyuki was kind of seeing that like he couldn't really relate to her as he likes her, but he couldn't relate to her as much because she wasn't, she had her American friends and her own style. She kind of goes with whatever flow she is.
Yeah, she got her circle.
Exactly. And so one of her friends was this other kid, forgot his name, but he was pretty much an asshole to Koyuki, and he kept, trying to ask this dude for help. Like, bro, this dude does not like you. This dude, first of all, y'all kind of vying for the same girl, and then second. The dude keeps holding you all the time. Why do you keep going back to thinking that this is going to help? He's not, bro. Like, at that point, he was like 19. He was doing that when he was, 15, 16, 17, whatever. He was doing the same thing again later when he's about to be 20. I'm like, come on, bro. At this time, you got to learn.
I guess, but I think we're underestimating, like, how stupid we were when we was, like, 14 to 19.
I'm just being real. Somebody keep, treating you, they don't like you.
Yeah.
You got to get the writing on the wall, man. That's just me.
But I don't know if... I didn't feel like the way that he was displaying, like, not liking him wasn't, like, direct. It wasn't like he came out and was like, hey, fuck you, bro.
No, he didn't, but he was like, if something happened, like, oh, we have a party costume at somebody's birthday, he was giving the wrong thing. Like, it's formal wear, but it wasn't formal wear.
It's those subtle ways of messing with you. Like, it's the whole, like, are you able to pick that up?
Yeah, he wasn't. That's my problem. That was my problem. He wasn't.
Yeah.
And then Ryusuke, he was like, his problem was that he was. But then again, these are the flaws in the characters.
Yeah.
So they're not perfect, obviously.
We're looking at the whole story. Like,
yeah, exactly. So
it's aspects that you as the reader you didn't particularly enjoy.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say I didn't. I mean, it didn't. They weren't perfect. These characters are not perfect, of course. Yeah. So that's also a negative. It's not negative.
I don't even know if it's negative. It's just this aspect of the story that because it's all about your perspective as you're reading this particular story. It's things that didn't click with you.
Well, it didn't take nothing away from me, But another, I was gonna say one of the problems is like they hit a lot of road bump, but
Yeah.
that's the fakes,
You see,
facts of
and I
big
think
bad.
that's the cool part. Like, and that's one of the cool parts to me. Like the fact that they did hit these road bumps, that they did hit these road obstacles, and then you kept. It's like, okay, this bump popped up. What's behind door number 2 now? Okay, that popped up. What's behind door number 20? Like, keep jumping the different doors until you get to the point that you want to get to. Like, if it's really your dream type of shit, like, you keep pushing after it. What else then?
For one, I just think they really, if this was a manga that I think needs a revamp. I know we talk about, well, before we, me and you go back and talk about stuff, animes that have,
That have, like,
mangas
anime,
or
but
mangas
then,
that have anime that don't continue.
yeah,
So
then the finish all the way through.
So this is one of them I think needs to revamp because I think Beck is very underrated. It's a really good read, and I think it holds up till today's standards. I know it's in the mid 2000s, late 90s, mid 2000s, but I still think it holds up today, and I think it needs a revamp anime to hear some of the music and different qualities.
How is the music from listening to the anime?
Oh, it's really good. There's a lot of good songs on there. Like I said, you can check it out on YouTube. Some of their single songs. I think the whole Beck soundtrack on YouTube
is on there.
Yeah, so
I think the dangerous part, though, or not dangerous, but we always hope for like the redos of animes when like a manga have been completed. And they're like, all right, let's redo this entire thing. We was talking about that for Ice Shield 21, having like a full redo of that since the manga is completed. But I think because this have a live action too.
It has a live action.
And so does the live action goes all the way to the end of the manga?
That I'm not sure. I looked at some clips online on YouTube, and I thought some of them was really good. I think they did a good job in trying to, of course, mix in their English / the language barrier. So, it was, and I liked how they incorporated that. So it was really well done. So for the clips I've seen, I haven't seen the whole live action. I might actually check that out.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see a redo of this one. But even from reading the manga, I'm definitely gonna check out the anime now. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a good manga. Would it fall in like my top 10? Probably not. But that's just me. I want to say weird taste, but I enjoy more of like the sports manga. But I think this falls in the same type of story that I like in those sports mangas of like the kid who isn't good at something becoming amazing at it, and then being able to find like confidence and fulfillment and just feeling like a better person in themselves afterwards. I feel like that's definitely in this story. It's the whole like coming into yourself type of thing. Any final thoughts? Anything else you would like to leave with the people?
Yeah, so I give this a recommendation. If you have Funimation, you can check out the anime. They also sell the manga. If you could check on that, I think Viz Media sells it or publishes it. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I recommend if any way, source, of course, you want to get back to the
artists,
for work and stuff, support.
Definitely so. But same, I recommend it. I say check it out. It's an amazing manga. It was a good read. It was a fun read. But I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
He's your co-host, Jamal.
And we'll see you when we see you.